Hi, welcome back. So now that you are through active labor, let's talk about the path out of active labor into pushing. And right between that, there's a space called transition. Now, if you've heard a lot of people tell you birth stories or talk about transition, um, this is what a lot of people think is like the most difficult part of labor. And it is probably the most intense. Some moms call it the breaking point, and it's certainly when during active labor, most moms, you kind of find peace with the work and you get drawn into the work. And then when you hit transition, it's really common to start experiencing doubt and fear. And there are some new, not side effects, but new symptoms, new things that might be happening in your body at this point. So I want to let you know what they are so that you're not scared. And I want you to really understand what's happening so that when you get here, you're not surprised by it. And even if it's a lot, you can feel safe and see the progress you're making and be alerted to how close you are to being out of it when you hit this point. All right, so what is happening during transition? Well, this is when you are finishing dilating. You took a long time to go from 0 to 5 centimeters. That's about how far you get in early labor. Then 5 to 8 might have taken another 3 to 6, 10, 12 hours. That's not too surprising. But when you hit transition, your body is making this huge leap where you're going from about 8 centimeters to 10 centimeters dilated, which is fully dilated, in about 15 minutes to 2 hours. For some moms, this is like 1 or 2 contractions. And for some moms, it goes on for an hour or 2. If it goes on any longer than that, I'm sure your care provider will be having some conversations with you about just ways that they can help you move through this to get to the pushing phase, to get you out of this spot, because it's not necessarily fun. But in almost every case, it goes so fast that the moment you start experiencing that doubt and you see your contractions getting longer to 90 seconds to 3 minutes, you're almost out of it already by the time you become aware that you're here. Cool random fact is that your cervix, the opening for your baby to come through, is going from the size of a small orange to about the size of a bagel. So that actually gives your baby quite a bit of space, which is why babies fit, right? I wanted to give you this feedback of first-time mom with no epidural compared to the experience of a first-time mom with an epidural. These are both very, very accurate to what I have experienced with most moms going through this phase of labor in each way of approaching birth, either with an epidural or without. This mom said, I remember how challenging this phase of labor is. I clearly remember that I wanted to cry, but I didn't let myself because I was afraid of losing control of all my emotions. This feeling of feeling like you're going to lose control is very common in this part of labor. So partners, if you can be strong and steady through here, hold a hand, hold eye contact, be grounding and reassuring. It's very, very, very meaningful at this point of labor. This mom continued to say the phrase "one contraction at a time" helped. I remember my OB telling me that. She also said, open your body. So with every contraction, I was imagining my body opening. And again, using those little mental focuses can really help you find the purpose and the progress and the acceptance in the work. Now, let's compare that to a mom who had an epidural. This mom said, I was surprised at how much I felt even with an epidural. I couldn't feel contractions, but the pressure was building and undeniable. So with an epidural, you can't feel the pressure of the contraction coming up or down, but you will feel the pressure of your baby starting to put pressure on your cervix, it just feels like the baby coming down, and you're very aware of that feeling. This mom said, I also felt overwhelmed by the shaking. I threw up and felt very out of control. Again, epidurals don't take away that hormonal shift that is going on that gives you that sense of feeling out of control. It's very normal to shake and throw up, even with an epidural. And because of this mom said, I didn't know to prepare for that because I thought I wouldn't feel anything with an epidural. So I just want to give you the heads up that yes, with an epidural, pretty much all the pain is going to be gone. But this part of labor can feel kind of difficult either way. So I just don't want you to be surprised by that. It's nothing to fear. It's nothing to be afraid of. I just want you to know that when you feel those sensations, that yes, this is normal and you are still okay and your baby is okay as well. It's all just part of the process. When we're talking about pain, I like to point this out here and as we were going through transition, because there are different types of pain and you might work through all of these. Transformative pain, which is the one that I always hear dads talk about after labor when they say they watched you grow and change and find a new part of yourself through labor. You will see that here where you really face the can I do this and go through it. Moms do that with and without an epidural. It is really, really cool to see you find your power and your trust in yourself. The emotional pain of how you feel about what you're going through. This is very important where hopefully you have a team that is respecting you and honoring you and encouraging you and helping you see the tremendous thing that you are doing instead of criticizing you and bringing you down. And just know that no matter what choices you make here in this part of labor, that you are incredibly strong, any path that you take through labor. The cognitive pain, which is the meaning that you assign to labor, whether it was too hard or I thought I could do it and I changed my mind and that was disappointing. Just know that if you get to this point, there's no failing in giving birth, right? Like just be very, very proud of yourself no matter how you end up coming through it, because the challenges are so great that just giving birth to a child and giving life to this world, I'd encourage you to choose to see that beauty instead of nitpicking yourself or assigning any negative meaning to your birth process. Sometimes that's easier said than done, and I completely understand that. So it's just something, if it helps you, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. And then, of course, the physical pain, the sensation that you're feeling. And again, you have that choice of how you react to the pain. If you go into that, ow, 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 this hurts, or if you go into the, this is a lot, but I can do it. All right, that's all I'm going to say on this. But as you're processing your birth experience, think about these and how you shape the meaning of this experience for yourself. One really cool thing that happens in transition is that a lot of people feel overwhelmed about it or worried about getting to the stage of labor. And the great thing about transition is that because your hormonal system is so powerful and you're having those effects as if you're having morphine and heroin, and it's really kind of like a crazy place that your own body takes you to. A lot of moms experience like a feeling of a time warp where even if you're in this phase for an hour or two, it feels like it goes by in a blink of an eye. Partners often will have hormonal systems that reflect the birth partner. Actually, everyone in the room gets a little bit of a hormonal boost, which is bizarre and so cool. So it's very common for both of you to feel like, how did that possibly take that long when it felt like we went through it so fast? So don't be worried about this phase, because even though it is a lot, your body can take you through it, right? So trust in the process here. All right, so a few things that I want you to be aware of. As the mom with the epidural said, there were things she didn't expect that kind of freaked her out, that I want you to be prepared for. At this point of labor, you typically will feel very hot and sweaty most of labor. Most people feel a little bit cool, want to be warm. This might have like hot and then cold. When you're in transition, almost everyone will just be hot. Partners, ask for a bowl of ice water or a cup of ice water. Add a drop of bergamot or whatever scent your partner likes, and put a cool cloth on during contractions. Sometimes you'll put it on between and take it off during, and sometimes you'll do it the opposite way. You'll find a very easy rhythm there, but the coolness definitely helps get through this part of labor. It's also very common to experience nausea and throwing up with or without an epidural. You guys, when you're throwing up during labor, this is always a really good sign of progress and change. I know it's not comfortable to go through. Nobody wants to throw up, but I encourage you to look for the positivity in that if you're throwing up, you're most likely making tremendous progress. Eating early on in labor can help prevent nausea later on in labor. And peppermint essential oil rubbed between your hands, inhaled, can sometimes help relieve the nausea. But at the end of the day, some of you are just going to throw up. And I know it's miserable and I'm sorry, but I want you to know that it's very, very normal. Another sensation that you will likely feel is dry mouth. So partners, please offer water after almost every contraction at this point. And a sip, you guys. Sip is enough. You're not like having to chug because you're probably also not feeling, if you're feeling a little nauseous, you don't want a lot. But sips to help take away the dry mouth feeling make a huge difference. Another thing that is very common, especially for moms that get epidurals, is a lot of shaking. It can feel kind of like your whole body is an avalanche where you're shaking a lot more than I think most people expect. You do have an acupuncture point right here on the center of your forehead. And since there's no real medications that can help with this, I always encourage moms, give a try. Rubbing that point, pressing it can help calm the shaking. Tapping it sometimes helps. And at the end of the day, the more you fight the shaking, if you try to stop yourself, the more it typically persists. So just breathe deeply, let it happen. Again, accept it, and it will pass. I promise you it will pass. And the last thing I want you to be aware of is the possibility is some moms hyperventilate a little bit where you're going through contractions, you're getting more scared, you're feeling overwhelmed. And so it's a lot easier to kind of like lose your breath. On this point of labor during contractions, if the really long, slow breath isn't working for you, at this point, it is okay to throw out that breath. Now, I do not want you to hold your breath, but just switch to a really quick, light metronome type breathing, which is simply like, and partners, you need to practice this, please. Because if you are able to hold her eye contact and say, let me help you, breathe with me, and show her how to do this. You will help her get through the contraction and get through the pain. And then she can do the deep cleansing breaths between contractions as she's regrounding. Partners, you're really, really, really going to have to take the lead here and help her with this breath if she's hyperventilating. Totally normal, but just keep that eye contact. And moms, lean into your partner and lean forwards and look into their eyes, right? Let them hold you and keep you safe and keep you grounded when you feel wild and out of control. This moment will pass very, very, very quickly. During labor, we've talked a lot about the benefits of practicing relaxation, of keeping your face relaxed, your hips relaxed, moving, dancing through contractions, having that constant sway. If you get to this part of labor or even active labor and you cannot relax your body, it doesn't do you any good tense your whole body up. And sometimes it just feels like you have to, because that's the way your body is processing this, right? It doesn't help you to resist the contraction. But if you do need to squeeze something, squeeze with your hand. So you can squeeze your hand without squeezing the rest of your body. And squeeze somebody else's hand, squeeze a brush. In transition, you're probably going to need a person to hold on to, and that's okay. Squeeze hard. You're not going to break a hand. And it's something great to remember later. Like, oh my gosh, remember that moment I was so scared I was going to break your hand and you didn't, and we all got through it okay. And go ahead. Don't feel like you have to relax through this part. You're past that now. Okay. I loved this one. Mom said, when I got to transition, my husband reminded me I would meet my baby in a few minutes, and it gave me so much encouragement that I was almost there. And truly, if you are in transition, you are almost there. So let yourself know that when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like quitting, when you feel like it might be too much, if you're having those longer contractions, if you're experiencing any of these more uncomfortable things, you are so close to being out of dilating. And most moms get tremendous relief and have a completely different experience when they're in the pushing phase. I just want to encourage you to embrace however you cope with pain. You do not have to look a particular way. Some moms are so calm that they're indistractable. Some moms are wild, some moms are quiet, and some moms are loud. There's not a right or wrong way to go through this part of labor. What is important is that you can be authentic in your power, that you are supported, and that you have the ability to make informed choices through this part of labor. All right. If you have any questions about transition, if you're worried about it, if you are unsure about how anything, again, always reach out, because it is the only thing that's important to me is that you feel ready for your birth. So have a great day, and we will see you in the next video.